there's so many teams out there through week 2 that I think we know enough about, but we don't know everything. And USC is my example of that because I don't know enough about LSU, especially after the game last night. They kind of just spun it around a little bit.
Sure.
But USC came in, as Paul, as you know, with little to no expectation in certain areas. And that's kind of the story with a lot of these teams out there. What is USC? Who is USC? Who is Oklahoma State, who came back against Sam Pitt? I mean, that we were watching that yesterday. It's like Sam Pittman's going to get this. He's going to go on the road. He's going to have some good energy there in Fayetteville. And then Mike Gundy, they kind of just sit back, relax, get a special teams play to go their way. And now Oklahoma State's a team. You're like, oh, I mean, they might be pretty good.
Yeah, those kind of programs. I mean, I was thinking this morning, like, we all know who's happy today. Which fan base is the angriest? And Matt, we don't have the time, but you can just literally, you could. I was in Lexington on Saturday.
Yeah.
You could go to Auburn. You could go a lot of places where good football program. I mean, I'll give you in Lexington. All the students were asking me yesterday because Georgia comes there next week.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think Gameday will be here? Gameday was going to Lexington. I say that because for Gameday to go to Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, they go every year, sometimes twice. They don't go to Lexington, but once every 20 years or so. So, I mean, that a loss that doesn't mean much other than the fact that they're playing the number 1 team in the country. The Auburn losing to California. I mean, there are just so many shocking things that stand out on this dance card on week 2.
And which is it? Because and this is the beauty of college football, of the sport we love. And we both love Shane Beamer. How does Shane Beamer in South Carolina struggle and damn near spit the bit against Old Dominion at home last week, and then go on the road and absolutely pummel Kentucky?
I had callers this week from Columbia saying, hey, when do you think we're going to get rid of Shane Beamer? They were as down on him as they could be. Now they have College Gameday, which I don't know where that bus was going, but listen, Gameday is great, but the idea that Gameday would go to LSU at South Carolina, I mean, that one of the more bizarre Gameday choices in its history.
Which, by the way, good for Beamer and good for South Carolina because the spotlight's going to be on Columbia.
Yeah, he stole Gameday from Lexington.
Right, and he went in there, got the win. Mark Stoops is puzzled. He brought the Gameday bus to reroute its way to Columbia, and then the other one you briefly touched on it, Hugh Freeze year 2. And that Peyton Thorne was all over the place. And every new coach at their program, and I know this is year 2, they have to have a moment where they have to look at their team and look at their program and say, guys, that we're not even close. And losing to Cal, all due respect to Justin Wilcox, I mean, that's not going to fly in the planes. It'll be.
I believe this is the last 4 games for Auburn have been a loss at home to New Mexico State, blowing the Iron Bowl on 4th and 3,
4th and forever,
4th and 31,
4th
or whatever.
Isaiah Bond.
They laid an egg against Maryland, who also laid an egg yesterday, and then they got by Alabama. I don't even remember who. I think it was Alabama State last week. Alabama A&M, a good HBCU. But they look great, and then they dropped this game at home to Cal, and I mean they're not even near the schedule yet that they'll have to.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, I've always liked Hugh Freeze. I know you do too, but I'm not counting his Liberty years, but in the SEC, if you take away the 2 wins over Nick Saban back to back in 14 and 15, who is he?
Yeah. And we'd have to go back and really dive into those records because look what Lane has done at Ole Miss. It's like, okay, you can win at Ole Miss. And this one, there are so many things like in my laptop that I write into a note. I'm like, Auburn, keep an eye out. What's he doing? Because the recruiting's been great. And
amazing.
it's time now as we embark on week 3 to really start seeing what started to take root in this college football season. And here's what we'll leave you with. I think you look at the ACC, you look at the Big 12, those two, and even the SEC because of Tennessee rising up. We know the class is Georgia. Paul, this could be the wildest year we've seen in the history of the sport because I believe the portal and NIL has leveled the playing field. As funny as it sounds, outside of the top 2-3 programs, it's leveled the playing field for everybody else unlike anything we've ever seen.
I agree. And a school we didn't mention is going to determine a lot of teams' fate this year. They're on Georgia's schedule. They're on Texas's schedule. They're on LSU's schedule. And I'm referring to Ole Miss, who I realize hasn't played anybody yet, but they look dangerous, Matt.
Yeah, there's a guy that's done it well in Lane Kiffin. It's going to be so fun to watch as we embark on week 3 of the college football season. And when we get there, we will be here as we are each and every Sunday. The Matt Barrie Show presented by Allstate here on the College Football YouTube channel. Paul, enjoy the week. If you didn't eat somewhere in Gainesville a week before, lucky for you, you get another shot.
We got it. Thanks, Matt.